Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be ranking my top 5 slashers from the year 1986. Now, if you haven't already done so, you might want to go back and watch my previous video, 1986, the year in slashers, before checking out this video, just to get an overview of what the year 1986 was all about for slasher films. So before we get into this, just as a little recap, these are the 13 films that I've identified as 1986 slashers. So we had Girls' School Screamers, Chopping Mall, April Fool's Day, Bloodhook, Killer Party, Evil Laugh, Night Ripper, Terror at 10 Killer, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, Sorority House Massacre, Body Count, Slaughter High, and Dream Maniac. So, in my 1986, the year in slashers video, I discussed how 1986 was not only kind of a bounce back year for, from the dismal 1985 for slasher films, but how it was also sort of a year kind of for new beginnings, as it was the first year where kind of an obvious change was beginning to occur within the genre. The standard 80s slasher formula that had dominated the genre since the early 80s was starting to slowly lose its dominance, as the rise of the supernatural slasher began to become more prominent. Thanks in large part to Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Now, another trend that really saw a strong emergence in 1986 was the shot-on-video, straight-to-video kind of craze that was kind of starting to pick up steam around this time. And it happened a little earlier for sure, and it wasn't just in the horror genre. It was almost all genres of film during this period in the 80s. But, it seems like 86 was, when the market was really starting to get flooded with some of these, direct-to-video releases. And, the 80s slasher subgenre was no different. So yeah, 1986 was a pretty important year for the slasher genre, and kind of a transitionary one. So with all of that being said, let's just go ahead and get into my top 5 slashers of 1986. And yeah, let's start it off with number 5. Alright, so coming at number 5, we have April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day, this is kind of a weird one for me, to be honest. There is a lot that I like about it. I love the cast. This is one of the best 80s slashers casts of any film. We have Deborah Foreman, Amy Steele, from Friday the 13th Part 2 fame. Deborah Foreman was in like Valley Girl and lots of other iconic 80s films. Thomas F. Wilson, Biff from, the Back to the Future films. Griffin O'Neill. It's a who's who of classic 80s actors. And having a solid cast, really elevates it past some other slashers where, you usually have to suffer through a lot of terrible acting, and although that has its charms, sometimes it's nice just to see, a film that has some really solid acting in it. So that's definitely a plus for April Fool's Day. This is also one of like the better made slashers in my opinion. Like the direction, the cinematography, the editing, all that stuff. It's just really good. Like the filmmakers knew what they were doing. Yeah, this is just a really well-made film, and it's it should be it should be credited for that. Now there definitely are some really good slasher moments in the film, that are fun, typical, that follows the formula, whatnot. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of gore in this, um, which is kind of a downside. But we'll talk about that. But like I said, there is some really fun moments, so it's really good. Another thing I really like is this cover art. I absolutely love this cover art. Obviously this is the Scream Factory. This was the commissioned artwork. I don't. It's nice. It's just not really my thing. I don't really like that as much. This is classic for me. This is probably, of all the horror films from my childhood, going into like the VHS video store days, this is the cover that I that connects with me the most. It seems like I saw this at every video store, and I would just go up and stare at it, just like the the hair in a noose, hiding the blade. Um, I just saw this all the time as a kid. It just burned in my memory. This is probably my favorite 80s slashers cover. I just love it. I don't know why. It's a nostalgia thing for me, I think. Um, but yeah, but the main reason that this film is not ranked higher on this list is due to the ending. Now, I know within the horror community, the ending of this film is pretty divisive. Some people don't mind it and they think it's fine. That's great. For me, I just don't like the ending that much. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's clever, I guess. Um, yeah, especially considering like the title of the film and the theme of the film, it's a clever ending. I don't want to get into it. I'm not gonna, if you haven't seen it, it's part of the fun of the film, and they're obviously swung for the fences with a twist ending, or a big reveal. It's just I I just can't help but feel kind of cheated a little, and like I said earlier, because of the twist, it kind of made it hard for the filmmakers to show us some better gore effects. That they couldn't make the kills really definitive, you know, because it wouldn't have made sense with the ending of the film. So they had to work around that. And like I said, they did a good job. There were some fun moments for sure, but you know, I would have liked more gore, better kills, more realistic looking kills. So yeah, that's my whole thing with April Fool's Day. Like, I like the film. I appreciate it. It's really well made. Good acting. I'm just not happy with the ending. I wish it would have went a different way. But yeah, that's my number five, April Fool's Day. All right, let's move on to number four. All right, so coming at number four is a film that I don't have a physical copy of. It's only been released on VHS and DVD, and that of course is Evil Laugh. Now, this is a film that I enjoy probably more than I should. There's just something in particular that stands out. I don't know, it just kind of has a really charming and fun feel to it. Um, I don't know, it's kind of hard to put my finger on why I like this film so much. Now, a fun fact about this film, it was directed by the actor who played the character Joey in Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. The character who gets axed to death at the beginning of that film, because he was offering a candy bar one too many times. So that's kind of cool. That's a 1985 film. He was acting in that, and then in 1986 he turned around and he directed Evil Laugh. So that's yeah, kind of, I don't know, kind of a cool thing for me. Now, Evil Laugh kind of is a film that has a little bit of everything. You know, it's a decent setting. It's nothing outstanding. It's just, you know, mostly set in like a house. Like they're trying to clean up. You know, a group of friends are going. Like one of the friends bought a house, and they went for the weekend to clean it up and get it ready and stuff. So, you know, it's a cool house. It's nothing. You know, it's nothing special, but it's a fine setting. Um, you know, there's some decent nudity within the film. There's some pretty good kills. There's a highlight kill that involves a microwave. Somebody is death by microwave, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, and you know the ending has a pretty good twist reveal. Again, nothing groundbreaking or anything like that, but it just has all the elements that make it just kind of a, I don't know, just a fun little 80s slasher that I just really like. Now, this film has some real fun 80s cheese to it, which I think it's part of why I like it. You know, we're getting into that late 80s, mid to late 80s era where, you know, the big hairstyles and like all the stuff that you associate with like the 80s, the styles and stuff. It plays a part in these films, you know. In the earlier 80s, 80, 81, you know, there was still like some 70s feel to that, but 86 it's all 80s cheese, and I love it. um and you know, the title Evil Laugh, the killer does do an evil laugh before they make a kill, and it's great. It's funny. It's I don't know, it just kind of adds to it. And there's a cleaning scene in this film. They're all cleaning the house. They have like feather dusters and stuff like that, and there's music playing, and it is probably one of the cheesiest moments in the entire subgenre, and I absolutely love it. It's just man, it's so funny. It's so it yeah, it's just 80s cheese at its finest. And another thing, like I said, this was discussed in the 1986 Year in Slashers videos, but this is one of the two films released in '86 starring Kim McAmee, who would later go on to be known as Ashlyn Gear, you know, an adult film star. She did two 80s slashers, this and Dream Maniac, in 1986, and she's good. You know, she's actually like one of the lead actresses in this film, and she's good. She does a good job, and you know, I guess it makes sense why she went on to a good adult film career, because she was probably one of the few who could actually act. So yeah, this is just a solid mid 80s slasher film that's just a lot of fun. So yeah, Evil Laugh, um, coming at number 4. Yeah, I really like that one. All right, let's take a look at number 3. All right, so coming in at number 3, we have Slaughter High. Now, obviously, I like this film, but Slaughter High gets some heat from a lot of people. But you know, I think this is a really just a really fun film. I always enjoy the revenge driven slasher plot. You know, it's not nothing original. You know, something happens at the beginning of a film, like a prank goes wrong, a group of friends do something bad to somebody, and you know, the rest of the film is that person getting their revenge one by one on these people. You know, it happens a lot. It's done really well in this one. You know, like the original at the beginning of the film, like when we see the prank, that's done really well. It's mean spirited. It's pretty graphic. There's a lot of elements to it. Um, yeah, I that aspect of this film I really enjoy. Now the kills in Slaughter High are the highlight for me for sure. Not only are they done really well with the practical effects, which they are, but they're very unique in the way um, that some of these deaths occur. You know, we have a death by like electrocution. There's more than one impalement. Um, there's somebody like drinking acid and their stomach explodes. Somebody has an acid bath. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of original, unique type of kills, and they're graphic and they're violent, and you see a lot of it on screen. Like they don't cut away. The kills are really good in this film. Now, of course, the ending to this film is something that also needs to be discussed, as it can be compared to April Fool's Day, which is funny because this film, I think one of the original titles was April Fool's Day. Regardless, but yeah, the ending of this film is people don't like the ending of this film, just like April Fool's Day. Now, um, this one didn't bother me as much. The way that it was explained, it made sense to me. Plus the ending allowed um, for the kills to happen. They were allowed to show the kills be like really gory and final. April Fool's Day, because of how the direction they took that one in, they couldn't do that. So just that alone elevates this higher than April Fool's Day for me. Was this um, a better made film than April Fool's Day? No, the acting wasn't as good. It wasn't made as well. It probably, the plot probably wasn't written as well from like a screenwriting aspect. But I loved the setting. Like the setting was like a really abandoned like school kind of thing, which was really cool. Um, like like I said, the kills were amazing. There was a lot of nudity in this one as well. This had just a lot of elements that I just really liked. So, yeah, you tack on a better ending with the better kills, and it's gonna rank higher for me. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Slaughter High. I really liked it. Yeah, I think it's just a really fun film. All right, so yeah, that's number three. So let's move on. Uh, Look at number two. So coming in at number two, we have Chopping Mall. Now, this is one of the most fun 80s slashers, in my opinion. And yes, I consider it to be an 80s slasher. I get that there's no human killers. And it's definitely kind of part action film, 80s action film for sure. There's a lot of gunplay and whatnot, which is atypical for an 80s slasher. But the overall structure of the film and the formula plays out exactly like an 80s slasher, that just happens to have some supernatural elements and some 80s action film elements. Um, but again, that's fine. I'm all right with that. This film has a little bit of everything. There's some really fun like plot elements, some of the dialogue and like the stuff with the characters. The characters are really fun in this film. They're just kind of like a group of friends, um, you know, going to have a good time party at a mall when it got shut down after hours, and they're just they're the stereotypical. There's the jock and like the nerdy guy, and it's the characters are great, and they have some really fun moments together. And this film also has, it has a decent amount of nudity in it. Again, that's not important, but it's for the genre. It's something that you kind of look for. It kind of makes an 80s slasher an 80s slasher, and there's some decent stuff in this one. Um, and there's some really fun and creative kills, which is always nice. The killer robots. They're a lot of fun. It's kind of good because they're like different. They're different villains. Usually you have like the mass killer or whatnot, and it's a nice change of pace for an 80s slasher. It's something different. It's something, a new obstacle that the heroes have to overcome, which is really fun. I like that. But of course, the biggest star of this film is the setting, um, like the shopping mall that it's in. Um, this this shopping mall is awesome. It's so good. It captures just that perfect time in the 80s. When shopping malls were at their peak. Like shopping malls today are, whatever. They're okay. They're slowly dying, to be honest. But mid 80s, mid to late 80s. That was the heyday of the shopping mall. You know, that's where everybody went. And it just, I don't know, it just captures that moment in time just perfectly. It kind of acts, this film kind of acts as a time capsule of the 80s. I just love that about this, you know. And then when you have that, and then you insert an 80s slasher structure into it, it's so much fun. I just absolutely love it. And you know, I enjoy like the action film elements, you know, it's like Rambo kind of thing, you know, because of course there's a hardware store in the shopping mall, so they go and they make their weapons and whatnot. And yeah, that it's just a kind of another aspect I really like, because you don't usually get that. um, the Majorettes, that's another 80s slasher that has a really weird action sequence. We'll talk about that when we get to that film in a couple years here. Um, but yeah, Chopping Mall is fantastic. Just one of the most fun films in the entire subgenre. Absolutely love it. All right, so yeah, so that was number two. So let's go ahead and move on to number one. All right, so coming at number one, of course, we have Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. If anyone who's been following this channel for some time, probably not surprised that, you know, I'm going to have a Friday the 13th film. Now, this will probably be the last one that makes number one. You know, after this, the remaining two films in the 80s, they won't be number one. I can almost guarantee you that. So, yeah, this is the last entry for this, but I love this film. This is one of my favorite Friday the 13th films, you know. It's kind of hard to say. It's in my top six for sure. But there's so many things that I like about this. First off, you know, we're talking about Jason. You know, the actor C.J. Graham, who plays Jason in this, is fantastic. One of the best Jasons. He's big, he's large, he's very aggressive, and he's a fast moving Jason. You know, I like the slow moving Jasons, you know, as well. But there's something about him, like there's times when he's almost running in this, like a brisk walk or whatever you want to call it. But it's um, he brings a new edge to Jason in this film, which I really like. So yeah, C.J. Graham is definitely a plus. Um, this film, of course, has some amazing kills. Um, you know, a couple of highlights. You know, when like you know when the girl gets her face pushed through the RV wall. That's fantastic. You know, the sheriff being like bent backwards over on himself. That one's one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, this film is just there's a lot of really fun. Um, Again, just like creative kills like this franchise has been known for. They're always making some really innovative kills, and this one does the same. Um, you know, this one we have Tom Matthews playing Tommy Jarvis, and I think Tom Matthews is fantastic as Tommy Jarvis. Um, really good. He's very likable, really charming. He's just a good final guy. You know, this film we get like a final guy and a final girl combo, which is a like a kind of a unique thing for the genre. You know, it happens before, of course, but it's nice. They're like throughout the whole film, they're kind of like a tandem. And you know, Tommy Jarvis is obviously is the lead, and he's great. He's really good. You know, when you get like the backstory with this, starting from part four to part five to part six, you know, the character of Tommy Jarvis is just it's by this time he's really fleshed out really well, and I don't know, it's just a good little end of the little trilogy for Jarvis. So really like that about this film. You know, the Alice Cooper soundtrack is fantastic. It's perfect. You know, Alice Cooper fits Friday the 13th just perfectly. And you know, the way they use the songs, it's really good. It's something that when I think of this film, I always think of Alice Cooper, the music. It's yeah, it's great. It's great. Now, um, again, like I mentioned in the 1986 Year in Slashers video, this is the beginning of the supernatural Jason, you know, zombie Jason. And I don't mind zombie Jason. This is the best version of him by a lot, in my opinion. Um, he's obviously, zombie Jason in this, but for whatever reason, I don't mind him as much in this as in part 7 and part 8 and onward, obviously. I mean, I think the character gets a little more ridiculous as each film goes on, but you know, he's like, again, he's fine in this. I don't he doesn't, he doesn't come off as like unkillable too much, a little bit, there's a little bit of that, like, non-stop. He just keeps coming and coming. You can't kill him. In other films, it gets a little more ridiculous. It's not as bad here. So he's a zombie, but he's still Jason, if that makes sense. It's I don't mind the zombie Jason as much in this film. Now um, the humor in this film, I'm not the biggest fan of. This is the only thing about this film. And it's not. It doesn't ruin it for me. You know the um, the filmmakers, they were going for, to inject some humor into a Friday the 13th film. And some of it is okay. Some of it is cringeworthy. The scene when there's like the kids in the cabin, they think they're gonna die, and one of the kids asks, like, "What were you gonna be when you grow up?" kind of thing. It's just like, wah wah, kind of. I don't know. I don't like that. Um, but it's not bad. It doesn't ruin it for me. I wish it wasn't so over the top. But something that needs to be pointed out. So yeah, overall, this is one of the better Friday the 13th films. It's just a very solid 80s slasher. Um, with everything that you want in one of these films, especially from a Friday the 13th film. It's just really good. I just love it. Again, it's probably part nostalgia for me, but yeah, that's my favorite slasher from the year 1986. All right, guys. So yeah, that's it. That's my top five. So, like I said, if you haven't yet checked out the 1986 Year in Slashers video, I'll put a link in the description below. Also, I'll put a link up on the screen here for you that, if you're watching on your phone or whatnot. And yeah, that's gonna do it. So until next time. All right, see ya.